Hey guys, this is a quick video on using passive voice in order to avoid using personal pronouns in your essay. So, what does a sentence usually need? And you'll see why usually is sort of highlighted there. It needs a subject and a verb. These two things I've got in green. So a verb, you know what a verb is. It's the action word. Shout, play, is, am, are, cook, fight, eat, whatever. And the subject is the person or thing which does the verb. Okay, so shouting is obviously a verb. Mr. Hopkins shouts. He's the person who does the verb. He's the person who shouts. Cook, verb, doing word. She cooked. She is the person who did the cooking, basically, right? A sentence can also have an object, and that is the thing in which that is connected to the verb. So if I shout at the students would be the indirect object in this case. I shout at them. I could also shout swear words. That would be an object. She cooked dinner. Dinner is the thing she cooked. That is the object. If I throw something at Ali's head, the thing which I throw is the object. At Ali's head would technically be an indirect object. I asked AIS students, they are the object. I'm the subject, I'm the person who did the asking, and they are the person whom I asked. Okay? So they're objects. Complements are just like adverbial phrases in the morning, in the classroom. They can be adjectives, hot, I am hot. I is the subject, am is the verb, hot is the complement, it's an adjective. About e-learning, actually that'd be an indirect object, but whatever. And friends, this is a noun, but then it's not the object. Brett and Jamie aren't doing something to friends. They're not playing with friends or shouting at friends. They are friends, and therefore it's the complement. Now, what's important to know is that a subject can be known as an agent, the person who does the verb. Okay, so start thinking in terms like that. The person who does the verb is the agent. Now, this is all known as active voice. This is what you use regularly. Tom walks the dog. Jamie plays the guitar. Yusuf eats chicken. Whatever. That's active voice. Switching it round is passive voice. Now, I just put the object in the place of the subject and then have the passive verb here. And I'll go through this in a bit more detail. Now, when I said before, it's not the sentence needs a subject and a noun, usually, well, this is still technically the subject of the sentence. And that's why I want you to think in terms of agents. The object in passive voice is the subject of a sentence, but it's not the agent. The students are not the ones doing the shouting. Dinner is not the one doing the cooking. And AIS students were not doing the asking, okay? The object becomes the agent in the place of the subject. It's first here, okay? The passive verb, and again I'll look at this in more detail in a minute, still comes second, but there's been a change. So where it said Mr. Hopkins shouted at the students, we've now got the students were shouted at. We had she cooked dinner, and dinner was cooked. And I asked AIS students were asked, okay? Now the agent, we can actually get rid of. We don't need this, but if we have it, we have to have by. By Mr. Hopkins, by her, by me. But we don't need it. The students were shouted at. Dinner was cooked. AIS students were asked. Don't need it. Even if I keep the complement, AIS students were asked about e-learning. Fine. We do not need the agent. And that's important because if you guys want to avoid using personal pronouns like I, then you can use passive voice. Instead of I wrote this essay was written. Okay, instead of I explained, it was explained. And this is why passive voice is really, really, really important. So what you notice here is the passive verb. Let's have a little look. Oh, there you go. It's known as passive voice. Let's have a look at some of these passive verbs. So plays, this is what we call the present simple. Verb 1, you might hear it called. It's the normal one. I play, he plays, she plays, we play. Is played. If I play with I don't know, I'll play with my food, right? Before I eat it. I could say my food is played by me. Eats is eaten. Now when you see something here, played, we've got ed. Usually past simple, verb 2. But here we've got eaten. Eaten isn't verb 2. You know, eat, ate, eaten. It's verb 3. It's what we call the past participle. And you can do that in your head with a lot of verbs, you know. Play, played, played. Run, ran, run. Eat, ate, eaten. You can do that in your head. But it's the third one. It's the verb to be, the is, am, are, was, were, that tells us what tense it is. So plays and eats, which is obviously in the present simple tense, becomes is played, is eaten, and therefore fights, as you've probably guessed, will be is fought. I've got my present simple verb to be, is, conjugated correctly, not am or not are, because fought is still the singular verb. So is fought, and then we've got verb 3, fight, fought, fought. So let's have a look at the next one. If played, which is in the past simple, I played yesterday, he played yesterday. How is this going to look? Well, you might have guessed, instead of is, it's just going to be was. Played, I played with my dog yesterday. Yesterday, my dog was played by me. Played with by me. My guitar was played by me. My dog was played with by me. That's important. Again, yesterday I ate chicken. Yesterday chicken was eaten by me. So I'm swapping the I and the chicken round, the subject and the object. And I can get rid of yesterday the chicken was eaten. I can get rid of the agent. So for is going to obviously be was for. And you're getting the idea now. Is playing. This is where it gets a bit trickier. Is why don't I put watched? Is being played. Is being watched. Whatever. You know, the dog is being played with. He is playing with the dog. The dog is being played with. He is watching TV. The TV is being watched. This is where it gets a little bit. Sorry. So Tom is eating vegetables. Vegetables are being eaten by Tom, or chicken is being eaten by Tom. They are fighting a battle. A battle is being fought by them. Then we've got the present perfect here. So I have played guitar. The guitar has been played. So again, don't forget to conjugate properly. I have eaten sandwiches. Sandwiches have been eaten. England and Germany have fought a war. A war was fought between England and Germany. And then finally, had played, had been played, had been eaten, and had been fought. What's really important is you need the verb to be, whether it's is, am, are, was, were, being, or been, and then you need the past participle, played, eaten, fought, you know, your verb 3. And then just stick the correct tense article, auxiliary verb in front of it. And that's passive verbs. Now, it's a lot of important stuff. It's kind of basic. You've probably studied this. You should have studied this in elementary school, possibly early middle school. But it's just a reminder. But the thing to take away is do not write, I asked 15 students what the biggest advantage to learning online was. Instead, write, 15 students were asked what the biggest advantage to learning online was. So you just swap it around. You get rid of the I, you put the object before the verb. That's it, basically. No personal pronouns.